When Representative Jasmine Crockett entered the congressional hearing room with her sharp suit and sharper gaze, the atmosphere shifted. She had come prepared, and so, it seemed, had everybody else: reporters, aides, security personnel, Kash Patel among them, sweating slightly as he shuffled papers in front of him, anxious to avoid any landmine that might come his way. She gazed around coolly before her eyes locked onto her target, Patel, former government official turned witness, whose recent testimony had drawn controversy for its insinuations and evasions. The hearing had already been heated. Republicans had deflected. Democrats had simmered, but nobody expected that Crockett had prepared a rhetorical judo move that, when executed, would reverberate through the halls of power. As the final statements approached, Crockett rose, buttoned her jacket, spoke with the measured calm of a legal mind, but with the fire of someone who'd seen injustice or a smile for too long. "Right, Mr. Patel," she began, voice even, eyes unblinking. "You've spent the last hour telling this committee what you didn't know, what you didn't authorize, what you didn't intend. So, let me ask, when did you decide the truth mattered less than your convenience?" The question hung in the air, brief and precise, but it felt like lightning had struck. Patel froze, or at least paused, his mouth flicking open and closed like a fish out of water. He looked down, glancing at the committee members whose faces had gone impassive, some nodding subtly in approval, others glancing at their notes, everyone recognizing instantly the magnitude of what had been said. Cameras rolled, capturing the moment in tight close-up. The cameras that would bring that one sentence into living rooms across the country. On social media feeds and on cable news banners. A beat passed. Crockett didn't flinch. She simply gave Patel time to answer, but his throat worked without sound. He cleared it. "Congresswoman, the truth," he began, then stopped, as though his voice had been snatched away by the sheer weight of her accusation. The room was silent enough to hear papers rustle and breath held collectively, before his sputtered recovery. Crockett had already moved on to the next question, to the next thread in her narrative, but that one sentence had done its work. The rest of her questioning returned to the facts, timelines, memos, omissions, but it all felt like aftershock. Less explosive now, more investigative mopping up. Patel answered haltingly, deflecting again. But no matter how he tried to change channels, the moment lingered. "Did you ever think that using words you later denied you said might come back to haunt you?" she repeated, cool and clinical. Patel shifted, "Congresswoman. He paused longer this time. The first crack had widened into a fissure. Committee members leaned in. Sheets of testimony that once seemed to Patel like impenetrable armor now looked transparent under Crockett's gaze. Every statistic he cited, every carefully crafted qualification, felt smaller after that one line.
"Oh."
She circled back and said, "You're an architect of your own ambiguity," and the words felt like nails in a coffin. Patel tried to smile, something public figures reach for in these moments, but it trembled and fell short as if gravity pulled it back. The public gallery shifted, phone screens flicked with recordings, and the news ticker took note in real time. Crockett didn't pause for applause or drama. She simply clicked. Another box ticked, another blow landed. Minutes stretched as Patel fumbled through his denials, every response echoing back to Crockett's earlier question. She pivoted into procedural questions, but her tone had changed. It was no longer interview it was interrogation. She referenced emails, logs, cross-examined with surgical precision. He flinched. She nodded at evidence being admitted his own words, and the committee minutes crystallized in that instant. Factual, damning, undeniable. She never raised her voice, never lost her composure, just kept the momentum, kept the logic, kept the focus. And with each paragraph of dry, official-sounding inquiry, Patel shrank metaphorically in stature and credibility. Till he seemed a witness not of truth, but of retreat. By the time committee staff started packing up papers. The sense of deflation in Patel's demeanor was obvious. Whispered conversations began, aides shifting eyes away from him. From the podium, Crockett stayed standing at her seat, hands clasped, final, unyielding. She concluded with a pointed closure, no flourish, no rhetorical flourish, just purpose. Our democracy doesn't pivot on convenient versions of events. It demands accountability. Our constituents deserve no less, and neither does the truth. That line, more declarative than explosive, summed up the impact of her earlier sentence. It framed the moment not as victory lap, but civic duty. Patel slumped slightly, nodded, offered. A curt understood and stepped down. Asterisk cameras cut away. The room stilled. Even among the wear and tear of DC hearings, this moment felt different. Less procedural, more human. Did Patel regret sliding toward vagueness? Did the audience see him as tarnished, or merely defensive? That one sentence had done its work. Reframing the narrative, reshaping expectations, rewriting the public record in real time. Reporters hustled toward the dais, notebooks open, pens ready. Crockett's aide nudged her gently, but she gathered her materials without looking rushed. Without false modesty, this was the mark of someone who knew she'd leveled something that couldn't easily be undone. Asterisk, it would go viral. Clips would replay, captions would underline her words in bold type, editorials would parse her tone, analyze the delivery. Op-ed would pair her line with the phrase mic drop, even if she hadn't smirked or dropped her pen. She'd said it quietly, professionally, but in real time, it resonated like thunder. Across airwaves, conservatives would complain she demonized Patel. Liberals would say she restored faith in oversight. Neither camp would fully hold her intent. She just wanted the truth. And the truth stuck fast. Asterisk, in the days that followed, it became the soundbite of the moment. When did you decide that truth mattered less than your convenience? Journalists dissected the phrasing, how it implied choice, accountability, motivation. Political analysts debated whether it would land in campaign ads. Legal experts weighed on whether it signaled ethical lines in government conduct. Public appearances suddenly seemed scripted, rehearsed, everyone watching. Everyone waiting for that look, that hesitation, that flicker of recognition. Some said Crockett had changed the rules of engagement and oversight. Others said she'd simply asked a question everyone was afraid to ask. Asterisk weeks later. After weeks of hearings, press conferences, whisper networks, the incident remained a turning point. Patel issued no public clarification beyond standard office statements. Crockett, meanwhile, rose in prominence, invited to speak, to opine, to set the tone for accountability. She moved on to further questions, further scrutiny, but that one sentence had already done the work. It stuck in minds, rewrote expectations, and reminded the public that even a single question, well-placed, well-timed, can shift the power dynamic. And for one charged, silent moment in that hearing room, everyone realized that while testimony can be rehearsed, the truth need not be. The silence itself said everything. Asterisk.